It would be easy to say that Arne Slot is simply continuing Jürgen Klopp's legacy at Liverpool. After all, he inherited a squad shaped by Klopp's intense pressing philosophy and a club deeply embedded in the Germans' ideology. But that would be a massive disservice to what Slot is actually doing. Because if you look closely, Liverpool is evolving. This is not just a continuation, it's a transformation. Slot may share some tactical DNA with Klopp, but there are key differences in how he approaches the game, ones that could define Liverpool's next era. So, what exactly sets Arne Slot apart from Jürgen Klopp? Let's break it down. When Arne Slot arrived at Liverpool, he knew the comparisons to Jürgen Klopp were inevitable. After all, Klopp had spent nearly a decade shaping the club's identity, turning them into a high-energy, gegenpressing machine that overwhelmed opponents with relentless intensity. But Slot was quick to make an important distinction. While he shared some of Klopp's core principles, he had his own way of executing them. Slot himself put it best. Maybe the only slight difference is that after we win the ball, I like to go forward just as Jürgen liked it. But I sometimes like it when players try to keep the ball and not play the difficult ball. Whereas Jürgen maybe liked the chaotic scenes in and around the penalty box. I think we're trying to find the balance between trying to create chaos at certain moments and trying to keep possession of the ball a bit longer in other moments. And that's the key word, balance. Under Klopp, Liverpool thrived on chaos. Their pressing game wasn't just about winning the ball back, it was about creating disarray, forcing panic clearances, and capitalizing on opposition mistakes. The more frenetic the game became, the more Liverpool benefited. Klopp's philosophy revolved around high-speed transitions, quick vertical passing, and an unrelenting tempo that suffocated teams into submission. Slot's Liverpool, however, is more measured. His team still presses, still attacks with speed, but they don't always look for the quickest route forward. Instead, they manipulate the game's tempo, knowing when to accelerate and when to slow things down. By controlling possession in certain phases, Slot's team can create openings through patience rather than pure intensity. The destination remains the same, breaking down defenses and dominating games, but the path to get there is entirely different. To understand why this is significant, we need to revisit Klopp's final season at Liverpool. Liverpool, as always under Klopp, played with an intensity that few teams could match. Their pressing was suffocating, giving opponents no time to breathe. Their attacks were direct and relentless, transitioning from defense to offense in seconds. Every game was played at full throttle, a whirlwind of movement, pressure, and high-speed football. And for much of the season, it worked. Liverpool was right in the title race, going toe-to-toe with Manchester City and Arsenal. They picked up big wins, produced thrilling comebacks, and for long stretches, they looked like they could reclaim the Premier League crown. But then came the final weeks of the season. After 58 grueling matches across all competitions, Liverpool started to fade. The intensity that had carried them so far suddenly became a burden. Fatigue crept in, not just physically, but mentally. Players who had been flying earlier in the season began making uncharacteristic mistakes. Their pressing lost its sharpness, and gaps began to appear in their defensive structure. The chaotic, high-energy approach that had been their biggest strength became their biggest weakness. Slot recognized this problem immediately. He saw that if Liverpool was going to sustain a title challenge over an entire season, they couldn't afford to rely purely on energy and intensity. A different approach was needed, one that would allow them to control games without constantly running themselves into the ground. Rather than fully embracing chaos, Slot introduced more control. He adjusted the team's approach, ensuring they could dictate the pace of matches, manage their energy more effectively, and remain competitive not just for months, but for an entire season. But before we get into the tactical shifts that are defining this new Liverpool, welcome to the channel. If you love in-depth football analysis, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow and ensures you won't miss any of our future breakdowns. Now, let's get into it. One of the biggest differences between Slot's Liverpool and Klopp's is their approach to tempo, the speed at which they attack and control games. Under Klopp, Liverpool operated at full throttle almost all of the time. Their philosophy was simple: The fastest route to the goal was the best one. The moment they won possession, their instinct was to play forward as quickly as possible. Whether it was a long pass over the top, or a quick combination through the midfield, or a blistering counterattack, everything was geared toward getting the ball into dangerous areas as fast as possible. This approach made Liverpool one of the most exciting teams in world football. They overwhelmed opponents with wave after wave of pressure, feeding off the chaos they created. However, it also had a downside. If the opposition managed to bypass their press or disrupt their rhythm, Liverpool could struggle to regain control of a match. Their aggressive approach often left them vulnerable in transition, especially against well-organized teams who could absorb pressure and strike on the counter. Slot, on the other hand, has reshaped Liverpool's use of tempo. His team can still attack quickly, but now they're far more selective about when to accelerate play. If an immediate attacking option isn't available, they're comfortable circulating possession, stretching the opposition, and waiting for the right opening. By pulling defenders out of position first, they create higher quality chances rather than forcing risky passes into congested areas. This shift has made Liverpool less predictable and far more controlled in possession. Instead of relying on chaos, they manufacture opportunities with patience, ensuring that when they do go direct, they're in better positions to capitalize and finish efficiently. This shift in attacking tempo hasn't just changed how Liverpool went forward. It has also had a major impact on their defensive shape. Under Klopp, Liverpool's philosophy was built on high risk, high reward. Their relentless pressuring aimed to force mistakes high up the pitch, winning the ball in dangerous areas and turning defense into attack almost instantly. The idea was simple: create chaos, force errors, and punish teams before they had time to reorganize. For much of Klopp's tenure, this approach worked brilliantly. Liverpool's counter-pressing became one of the most feared defensive weapons in football. But there was always a downside. When their pressing didn't work, and when opponents managed to evade that initial wave of pressure, Liverpool could be left dangerously exposed. Their aggressive approach often meant that midfielders and fullbacks were high up the pitch, leaving large spaces in behind. Against teams with quick attackers or well-structured counterattacks, this became a real vulnerability. Slot has redefined Liverpool's defensive approach. His team still presses, but they do it with more control and discipline. Instead of pressing at maximum intensity all the time, they pick their moments. They apply pressure strategically, waiting for the right triggers, such as a poor touch, a risky pass, or an isolated opponent before engaging. The selective pressing has a knock-on effect when Liverpool loses possession. Because they aren't committing numbers forward recklessly, they're often in better defensive positions to recover quickly. The result? Fewer moments where they get caught in transition, fewer defensive gaps, and greater control over matches. Liverpool aren't just attacking smarter under Slot, they're defending smarter too. They still suffocate opponents, but they do so in a way that protects their structure rather than exposing it. Another key distinction between Slot and Klopp is in-game management. While Klopp was known for his ability to inspire comebacks and shift momentum with tactical tweaks, Slot has shown a remarkable ability to adjust the finer details within matches. Slot's substitutions have often changed games, whether by adjusting pressing structures, switching formations, or introducing fresh legs at the perfect moment. His adaptability has already been a major factor in Liverpool's success this season. So, what does this all mean for Liverpool's future? Slot hasn't come in to tear everything down and start over. He's building on Klopp's foundation, but refining it. By adding more control, more adaptability, and a greater emphasis on tactical shifts, he's making Liverpool a more sustainable force. And it's already paying off. Liverpool sits at the top of the Premier League, showing that this approach isn't just theory, it's working in practice. Of course, the landscape of the league has helped. With Manchester City and Arsenal struggling for consistency, the title race is wide open. But that shouldn't take anything away from what Slot has done. If Liverpool does lift the Premier League trophy at the end of the season, it won't be because other teams faltered. It will be because they evolved. What do you think? Will Slot's changes make Liverpool an even greater force than under Klopp? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more tactical analysis. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.